The JSE All Share index was down for a second day. Investors continue to adjust rate cut expectations by the Federal Reserve and also assess more corporate updates. Meanwhile, local focus will be on manufacturing production figures and President Cyril Ramaphosa's annual address to Parliament later in the day. Zwelakhe Mnguni, Chief Investment Officer at Benguela Global Fund Managers, joins us now for an analysis of the latest market news. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start here, though. The local index and rand remain in pressure. What has been driving these particular moves?
Yeah, I think first of all, good afternoon. We have like a little surge in the dollar. I think there is some the delayed interest rate cuts in the U.S. mean that the U.S. might remain quite favorable in terms of the rates that they are offering relative to other markets. But I think the bigger picture in our markets in particular today is that the commodities sector is under quite a lot of pressure. I think the situation in China has not given a lot of confidence in that there is big improvements in demand. So we saw in particular the PGMs, they down quite a lot. I think platinum is almost 10% down, palladium down about 5%. And as a result, that leached into our market. So we saw the mining houses being under a lot of pressure. I think Amplats under quite a lot of pressure. Sibanye, Goldfields, all those mining houses are under quite a lot of pressure.
Statistics South Africa is due to publish December manufacturing production and sales figures. I mean, what are your thoughts on the state of the sector and specifically what 2024 has in store for the industry?
Look, we ran internally a index of electricity load shedding. It looks like things have been getting better in the last 3-4 months. So I would expect that manufacturing, which would require a lot of electricity and quite a lot of strong power electricity, I would expect that they would be doing a lot better. So I would expect 2024 to be a better year for manufacturing all round.
Mm. And onto this one, Curo has posted a trading statement for the year ended 31 December, that is last year. What do those numbers look like and what do they mean in the bigger scheme of things?
Look, I think from a headline earnings point of view, they look very good. I think they said they'll grow about 25 to 28%. So which means they'll make between 70 and 76 cents in earnings. I think the key highlight there, it looks like on the top line, there was a bit of pressure. The enrollments didn't come through as expected, but they were able to throttle the costs and were able to basically support the bottom line that way. But there are also impairments that have come through, which are quite sizable, and it looks like they're starting to collect some of the money from outstanding payments. Overall, I think the result was good. The balance sheet is strong. The cash flows are coming through. The big thing that Curo has to work on going forward is essentially increasing their capacity utilization. So in probably the 5 years to 2020-21, they increased a lot of capacity in terms of the schools, and they need to fill up those schools with new enrollments. And I think that is why the market has reacted negatively in that the low enrollments mean that they are not utilizing their full capacity, and that is something that could have some pressure on margins in the long term.
And also, Anglo-American publishing its production report for the fourth quarter that ended 31 December. Talk to us through some of those numbers, including Anglo-American platinum sales and Kumba production and sales.
Look, Amplats production was up, I think, about 36%, but that was because there was a low base last year when the refinery, they were too slow to start the refinery. So it's just a recovery back to normal. I mean, in terms of the guided production, it looks like it's in line with what they've guided all along. So I think the platinum elements, both production and sales were up. So I think production was up 36%, and then sales were up 32%. I think Kumba, they have deliberately slowed down their production to try and eat away on their inventories. So I think their production was down about 6% there. I think the rough diamonds were down about 3%. I think the pricing has remained an issue. They seem to be focusing more on value than just getting volume out. Copper, I think the Minas Rio was up strongly in Chile, but they seem to have slowed down their copper production as well by about 6%. So I think overall it's a mixed result, but it does look like they are managing the inventories so that they eat down on the inventories and just not produce all the time to increase inventories, and then you sit with that. So your cash conversion deteriorates as a result. But I thought it was marginally positive in that they are managing the business, but the numbers don't look good on the face of it.
And British American Tobacco's results also for the year ending 31 December 2023 are also out. How are they faring? Any better?
Look, on the top line, I mean, they look pedestrian on the top line, but I think that they are what they call the non-combustibles. That business seems to have grown quite strongly. I think it's now about 17% of their business, and it grew at about 21%. So quite a strong growth in that area. I mean, we expect that the combustibles, so the traditional cigarettes, that market will continue to decline. And I think the earnings were decent, but I do think that what buoyed the market today was that there is talk that they might exit India and basically take some of that cash to buy back the shares. So the market was actually positive about that. I think the stock was close to 4% up earlier today.
And just finally, Zwelakhe, State of the Nation address later tonight. Any expectation from the President to announce anything that is likely to shake up the market in any way whatsoever?
I have low expectations there. I think we're going to hear the same old that they're working. I mean, I cannot think of anything meaningful that will come out of this. I mean, the positive thing is that the collections from the south side have been positive, and they might have been able to maybe open up areas where they can increase some spending on the local side. But interest rates have gone up, and that will be eating into the amount of money that is available. So I think it would be quite a very narrow, tight State of the Nation that it have to walk.